Hey YouTube, so this is a little bit of a different video for me. It's going to be a chit-chatty get ready with me because I just figured why not? I was gonna do my makeup, and I know usually you guys see behind me and it's my vanity, but I just wanted to be on my vanity. So we're all relaxed. I worked all day, I'm super tired, but drinking some coffee, some iced coffee, and my little owl. Let's just hang out and do some makeup. I'm like at such a weird angle, but oh well. So you guys know that I put this in my products that I regret buying, but I'm trying to get rid of it, so 3 pumps of this. And if you hear my boyfriend playing video games, I guess I just can't tell him not to be loud for the million hours I'm about to film. For a primer, I'm going to use the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer that we got, well, I got in my box jar. One thing I kind of wanted to talk about is, you may think this is a super clickbaity title, if it's the title that I think I'm gonna put in, but if you follow my channel a lot, you may know that I moved. Our old apartment was the backdrop of my old videos in Philly. Sorry, I'm collecting my thoughts here. So I feel like doing kind of a super summery look, so let's use the ColourPop. The ColourPop, yes please. Please. I'm gonna use this little Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer, which apparently is separated. Gross. Frig. Apparently I'm not using that one. Instead, I'm just gonna use the Lorac one. So, I took a break from May to November, and that's probably for another video to talk about, but I was working 5 jobs. So that was intense. But yeah, we live somewhere different. That's the main thing I wanted to talk about. We moved in August 1st. It was really stressful because I was working all these jobs and I was doing a show, so it was like trying to pack up. But I'm gonna put some lip balm on right now because my lips are on fire. My lips are on fire. This shade here, the flesh toned one, so that I have a nice even application of all over the lid. So anyway, I've lived in Philly my whole life, in case you guys didn't know. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My dad was a firefighter, but it's a law, not anymore, but it is a law that it was a law that if you were a cop or firefighter, you and your family had to live in the city. So I did. I lived in Northeast Philly, and I'm proud of where I'm from. I love Philly a lot. But I moved to New Jersey for 9 months. I know, New Jersey. And that's actually where me and my boyfriend met when I was living there for 9 months on a contract with a theater company. And after living in the city my whole life and going to college like right outside the city, but still living in the city, I realized that I felt definitely most at ease and happy when I was not living in the city. I know a lot of people are always like, I want to be a city person and blah, 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 but I think it's the opposite sometimes when you grow up in the city and you live there your whole life, because it just gets to be overwhelming, to be honest. I was living in this farm town in New Jersey and I loved it, if I'm being completely honest. I liked that I could ride my bike and see the sky and see nature, and I love taking pictures, so I got even more into photography while I was living out there. Another huge hard decision I had to make was actually leaving there, but that's another story for another day. So I actually moved back in with my parents in Philly after I quit there, and they bought a house like an hour and 45 minutes away. So I was like, damn, that's too far for my job, because at the time I came back and was serving tables. So it ended up that me and my boyfriend moved in together after not dating that long, because we've been together for almost 3.5 years now, but at the time his parents moved down the shore and my parents were moving up, basically up the mountain, so it was like kind of kismet that we had to move in together. So I moved from Northeast Philly to Northwest Philly with him, and I'll just start from there. Taking this Rite Aid brush that I actually adore, and I'm gonna take this light little apricot-y color right there, put that into my crease as a transition. So we move in together in Northwest Philly in a neighborhood called Mount Airy. And to be really blunt, Mount Airy is a neighborhood that is like half hipster and half not so good. It's like up and coming, I guess you could say becoming gentrified, if you want to use that term. But it was affordable because, in case you don't know Philly's layout here, it's like not so nice neighborhood, Mount Airy, which is the buffer between a very bougie neighborhood called Chestnut Hill, and then off to the side here is Roxborough, which is like kind of druggy white people central, and then it's Manayunk, which is like partying college kids and young adults. But we were like the buffer between like the bad neighborhoods and the uppy neighborhoods, and we lived much closer to the not so good neighborhood. And I love the neighborhood, don't get me wrong, but it had its ups and downs, and we lived in an apartment that we loved. If you actually watch my only other Get Ready With Me, you'll hear our neighbors hitting each other and screaming at each other above us, so there was that. But there's something to be said about living in the city, and you have, you know, coffee shops and things within bars, and Mount Airy is special because it's in near Fairmount Park, which is like very Secret Garden-esque, so it's beautiful. It's all old buildings, but unfortunately it's going a little downhill, I guess you could say, because it's next to a not so. Actually, it's up and coming, but not up and coming enough. I'm taking this Morphe M507, and I'm actually gonna work this little bit of darker orange into my crease. Lived there in our 950 square foot apartment with our 2 dogs and our cat for almost 3 years, I wanna say, 2.5 years. I realized after I lived in a farm town and then I moved back and I was living in this neighborhood where the first couple of months we were there, my tire got slashed and we ran into some issues with people. There was this one guy, the guy next door to us, when we would park, would scream at me for some reason if I parked within like 7 million feet of his driveway. And this is the city, like, you're gonna have to get used to people parking by your driveway. And like, I was not blocking his driveway at all. I know the evil people that block people's driveway. That was not me, okay? But it was just so annoying. And he would come out and scream at me, and it was just like, I had people tell me they were gonna slit my throat one time at like a stoplight. They came up to my car and they wanted me to pull down my window, and this was the same day my tire was slashed. So there was some not so good going on. And I feel like it can weigh very heavily on you when you're stuck in situations like that. So the anxiety that you have when you're like going to a store and people are fighting with each other and screaming at the cashier, and people are fighting in the street. Our favorite bar that we hung out at had a shooting and 4 people got shot out front of it. We would go there. We were there at least 3 times a week, I want to say. And then I woke up one morning and I wasn't really paying attention, and I would go into work. I actually still work in the bougie neighborhood in Philly. And my boss was like, I think that bar that you frequent got shot up out front last night. And I looked it up and it was true. There was like 40 people out front and they all shooting at each other, and gosh, it just like, you have this edge to you almost when you're stuck in situations like that, where you're living in this area where I didn't go out at night, I wouldn't walk my dog. Like, it's not a healthy mindset to have, especially with someone like me who already, I feel like, has anxiety. Well, I know I have anxiety really badly. So I know people think it's like the cool millennial thing to say that, oh, I have anxiety, but I'm not saying it to be cool. We were just getting stuck in these horrible situations where you just aren't happy. And as much as I wanted to love it, I just couldn't. So we were always like kind of looking to move elsewhere, but I have so much pride in being from Philly and I love it. And I knew there was like suburban areas around Philly that I did love as well. Our building that we lived in was a very charming, quaint, old building. I'm actually going to take this darker orange and work that into my outer V. It's charming to live in a city as much as I'm like trashing it, but it can be charming. And I had a lot of really bad experience because I was working as a server in where I grew up, and I was just having a lot of really bad experiences. Protests, people screaming at me, groping me. I don't work at that restaurant anymore, guys. Finally, thank God. I've worked there a long time while I was on this channel, but I finally quit in September. I only have 2 jobs now, so I'm doing pretty good for myself. Sorry, I'm like rambling on in this video, but anyway, I just wanted to say I love Philly. But unfortunately, it just got to be too much, and I know my family's always like, what are you talking about? You can't have had that bad experiences. And I did. I had a lot of really scary experiences. I feel like I could get more deep into it. Our neighbors and everything, we lived in this old converted stone mansion that had like 12 apartments in it. We were very close to a lot of the people in those apartments, and everyone had their dog and outside, but there was always stuff going on. And before this even happened, let's just go here, but I was always having bad experiences. My boyfriend is from the suburbs of New Jersey, so he's a little less tainted than I am. So he was always like giving everything the benefit of the doubt, and then he had off last year, not this past year, the day after Christmas from work. So he was like, I'm gonna go to the movies, you're at work. He loves going to the movies. So I was like, yeah, go to the movies, have a good time. And I get a picture from him. Literally 5 minutes later, he had left to go to the movies. And he sends me a picture of this giant SUV on top of this smaller car at the end of our street. A car had jumped over the median and come down on another car. I'm actually gonna take this red a little bit into my outer corner and crease right here. But he sends me this picture, and I thought the person in the car beneath it was dead. And he was like, no, that person's fine. And he was like, I ran up to the people this girl ran out of the SUV, and I went up to the SUV and this guy fell out, and I was telling him it was all gonna be okay. But I remember vividly him telling me, he was like, blood just started spilling all over the pavement like salad dressing. That's what he told me. I was like, that doesn't seem right. The person in the giant SUV should have been fine. That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, you know what? I guarantee that girl that ran away shot him and ran away. And Kyle was like, no, I went over, I think he's dead. I tried to pull him out, they pulled him out of the car. It was horrible. And this is at the end of our street. And turns out the detective walks up to my boyfriend and says, we need to take you downtown and interview you about everything that happened. Did you hear? And he goes, did you hear the gunshot? Kyle's like, no. And turns out it was a homicide. The girl shot him and ran away. And Kyle didn't know this and ran up to him and pulled him out of the car and was like, you're gonna be okay, dude. But he was already dead because he was shot in the head. And when something like that happens at the end of your street and to your significant other, and it was 2 cars away from that car coming on top of Kyle's car, it's like, okay, maybe we do need to get out of this neighborhood. Maybe we do need to like make a change. And like that really kind of affected Kyle a little bit, as it would for anybody. Sorry, I don't even mean for this to be like a depressing video. I'm just like having a story time of why I've been gone for so long. So we would like look here and there. We weren't like super serious about it. And then our landlord who lived below us was like, I think our building's up for sale. And she had lived there for 40 years. And we were like, Sandy just liked to talk. Let's be real. We were like, Sandy, what are you talking about? And she's like, I think Greg, who was the guy that owned the building, put the building up for sale. So we started to see realtors and people coming and see the building. We're like, was anybody gonna tell us like the building's up for sale? So then they were like, false alarm, the building's not gonna sell, it's just too old, and for someone to update it to actually be like up to fire code. Our building was really quirky. It was old and converted. Like we had windows behind walls and radiators half touted under our bathtub. I'm used to living in old houses, so it didn't bother me. Lo and behold, a couple months later, me and Kyle, it's like April or May, we come back from, we were like having a couple drinks on a Friday night. We open our front door and there's like just a piece of computer paper slipped under our front door, and it's like, building was sold. Please forward all inquiries to this corporation, Greg Bouchot. That was the guy's name. And we were like, great, so our building sold. And me being like Miss Realist, I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna have to look somewhere else because we're gonna get evicted. So we were looking and looking, and we were looking in the same neighborhood, but we were like, we needed somewhere bigger. We were living in 950 square feet, 1 bedroom with our 2 dogs and our cat, and we had outgrown it, but like I said, we did really love our apartment. Nobody was evicted, so the people were very nice, and they were like, set up your online portal to send rent. And we were like, okay, and I'm still being a realist. Me and Kyle are looking, and we're like, something's not right here. And a couple weeks later, after they got our first rent check, I'm coming home from, I came home from work. Kyle had just left on business. A pipe had exploded and our street was so loud. There was like a pump going on our street because the sewage line was like messed up, and it was deafeningly loud in front of our apartment building. Deafening. So one of our really good neighbors was on the front lawn with his 2 dogs, as he always was when I came home from work, and he's like, did you get a letter? I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, Jeannie, who was one of our neighbors, got a letter. She lived there for 14 years, I think. Got a letter that she's evicted. She has 60 days to vacate. And so now I'm taking this yellow, and I'm gonna put that on my eyelid because I'm going for a sunset look, guys. So I run in, I open my mailbox, and there's no letter. So Jeannie comes out, and she was really upset, as she should have been, because these people were like, no, we're not evicting you guys, what are you talking about? And they were just shady. I didn't trust them as far as I could throw them the second they bought the building. And that's why I was like, Kyle, we need to be looking elsewhere. I was really sad, but we moved out of the city and we needed to. We had outgrown our 950 square foot apartment, and I wanted to be ahead of getting evicted because I'm not stupid. I knew it was coming, even though they're like, no, we don't have any plans for your side of the building. Your side's not going to get redone. You're not going to get evicted. The other side, just the other side. We moved out in August. Our whole side of the building got the eviction notice. And before we moved out, they turned off our hot water. They trashed the apartments. They were trying to come into our apartment. It was a mess. And they had nails and stuff and dumpsters everywhere. And it was just a wreck. We were like, we need to get out of here. And like I said, I was sad because I have so much pride in being from the city, and it was weird to move. We live 15 to 20 minutes from where we used to live, but lines make a difference around here. So we moved to a much safer area in the suburbs. And like I said, it was just very, very taxing. The anxiety I felt just leaving, and I know it sounds like quintessential to be like, oh, a millennial girl, and I didn't feel safe in my apartment, and I didn't feel safe in the neighborhood I was living, but it was true. I'm just taking that dark color and darkening it up a little more. But it's true, I didn't feel safe at all, a lot of things had happened. And I just was tired of having anxiety, and I was tired of having my back up all the time, and assuming the worst all the time, and being right. And everywhere you go, there's a fight, and there's shooting, and it's just a lot. It's a lot to always like be thinking about when you're just trying to live your daily life. Like going into the Chinese place on the corner of your house, and it's just to talk to them and order food. It's through bulletproof glass. It's like something to be said when you're from Philly and you live in Philly, because everyone who lives around me now, they're always like, oh, I'm from Philly. I'm like, you're not from Philly. You're from the suburbs, get a life. I have this one, but it's like all crooked up. And like murders and always seeing terrible things happening, and it's not good for my mental health. So things have been better with that. So the Eagles are doing really well, and obviously I'm really happy about that. And then I'm just gonna cat eye out my eyeliner, guys. Do you like how much stuff I have on my face? Wings are always sisters, never twins. So I hope you don't mind me just like talking about it, because it means a lot to me to be from Philly. So when I say I'm like in Philly and stuff, I'm right outside of it now. I used to be in Philly, but now for my own mental health and sanity. And like I said, now we have a yard and we have an extra bedroom, and it's just like so much nicer in terms of living. So I didn't think I was gonna get into this, but apparently I do more chit-chatting than getting ready. This past summer I was working 5 jobs. I was working at the restaurant. In case you guys don't know, I am the office manager of 2 dental practices. That's like my day job. A little tan for me right now, so I'm gonna use this Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Transforming Foundation. I was working so many jobs. I was having so much anxiety about money and moving. I was working at the restaurant, I was working my day job, I was doing a show. In case you guys didn't know, I went to school. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater Arts and English and a minor in Communications. So why do you need 5 jobs, Meg? Just listen to my major. Just kidding, kind of, sort of, not really. I was not in a good place, let's just be honest right there, when it came to having all these jobs. So I wasn't filming any YouTube videos because I simply didn't have time. I was working at the restaurant. I was working as an editor for a photographer. I was doing my own freelance photography. I was doing my own freelance makeup while also working for a salon as a makeup artist and my day job. And it was very stressful. So finally we moved, and I still was doing it for a while, but it was not sustainable. I was, put it lightly, kind of miserable. And my boyfriend and I just decided that it wasn't worth having such terrible mental health to feel financially stable. Like, there's something to be said about being financially stable, but there's also something to say about not having any days to do anything. And I was working, I'm not kidding, 90-hour weeks. It was so unhealthy. And I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. I only work at the salon now, and I do some of my own freelance stuff and the dental office, as opposed to like being other people's assistants and stuff. So the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, so that's really freaking exciting. I actually went to the NFC Championship game. I'm using the Physicians Formula Insta-Ready Concealer. I went with my dad. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. We had great seats. We're all such huge Eagles fans in my family. So to be able to go and witness that NFC Championship against the Vikings with my parents, well, with my dad, my mom, I mean, she's just like me with the anxiety, so I would not have liked all those people either, but for the Eagles, I'll do it, man. I'll do it. 10 out of 10, would recommend sharing an experience like that with your dad. Like I said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get to watch your team win, especially, maybe not in New England, okay guys, so hold back with your criticisms. But around here, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm actually gonna just take that shade again up here and blend out the top against my brow bone. We'll have methods to our madness. I like totally redid my vanity. I like want to show it to you guys. I kind of showed it, but there's like ivy hanging. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see it, but there's like all this ivy that I have hanging now because I'm just so like innovative. I'm not innovative at all. Color switch, color switch, color switch. I usually do fake lashes, but I kind of just don't feel like putting on fake eyelashes today, so let's just not. So we're just gonna go in with my Still Huge Extreme mascara. This week has been unnaturally long. Today was like super boring. And I'm the type of person who would much rather be super busy at work with a ton of patients than everyone cancel and me be sitting kumbaya to myself. But I know it's gonna be the same tomorrow because my boss is in surgery tomorrow, so finish alone. Take it down my neck, my back, lick my, and doing it right. Sorry, like I ran out of things to talk. I thought I'd be talking a lot longer, and then I just kept talking instead of doing my makeup, and this is what happens. Bronze and brighten. I'm taking this highlighter that we got in our There's my nose. Taking this highlighter we got in our BoxyCharm, kind of gold. You know what I'm gonna do for blush? I'm actually just gonna take these 3 shadows from the ColourPop palette. Use it as blush. Subtle. Not obnoxious. Yes, I am using eyeshadow as blush, guys. You can use things whatever you want to use. We're innovative here on my channel. This is because I literally did not feel like looking for a blush. I used the eyeshadows as blushes. Last but not least, I'm gonna take the Ofra Miami Fever.
Oh, hey guys, did not realize that my camera overheated and stopped recording, and since this was taken forever ago, it's kind of hard to fix. But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This is basically the completed look, and for hanging out with me on my channel. I'll do a couple happier get ready with me soon, so stay tuned for that. You can subscribe down below, and thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening. Bye!